Are your emotionally driven reactions at work posing a detriment to your success? Maybe you're asking yourself, how can I control the way I react emotionally? Well, I'm here to tell you that those emotions driving those reactions are not your enemy. I want to share a simple 3-step exercise that's going to help you use those emotions to enable your betterment and not your detriment. You ready? Let's get it. Sticking your foot in your mouth, or maybe saying or doing things that you later regret when overcome with emotion, especially in the workplace? Well, in this video, I'm not only going to be sharing with you a truth bomb about emotions in the workplace, but also a proven 3-step process that's going to help you use emotion as opposed to emotion using you. All right, time for the truth bomb. Emotions are a resource, an infinite supply. We all have this infinite well of emotion as a natural inheritance of our species. These emotions can be used as fuel and guideposts to help enable our success. I think that we really begin getting into trouble when we think about emotion in a binary, right? Either a positive or a negative, and it's along the spectrum. Emotion just is. And it's up to us to determine how we use that emotion or how maybe that emotion uses us. But I know sometimes it can be so difficult when the emotion hits in controlling that and not becoming the emotion. And we act in counterproductive ways that we could later regret. Well, I want to share with you a 3-step exercise or process that's going to help you use that emotion, moving you forward in a much more productive way. Okay, so the first step in this process is to discover the emotion. This is really where you're getting in check and in touch with yourself, understanding what are those physiological cues that your body might elicit when you're feeling that emotion. I usually have to just take a beat, take a moment to pause, maybe even close my eyes, and think to myself, what is the emotion that I'm feeling right now? Is it frustration? Is it anger? Is it anxiety? What is it that my body is telling me? What is this emotion that's flowing? And then I like to name it. I'll either just say it in my mind, or I might even journal it or write it down. But the important part of this step is being in tune with you. What is the emotional energy that I'm embodying right now? And name it. Now, the second step of this process is probably the most difficult one, stepping outside of the emotion. Now, what I mean by that is to somehow find a way to break your conscious thoughts, your thinking, into that emotional energy. For example, I've been sitting in meetings before and I've heard something being said or I've heard an announcement being made that inspires anger within me. And I feel that anger bubbling up. My fists will start balling up. My knees will start knocking or my toes will start tapping. And I know that I'm feeling that emotion. And the thoughts are usually focused on what I just heard. How could they have said that? What are they thinking? This is going to mean terrible things for the business. And those thoughts do nothing but fuel. They inspire the anger even stronger. And so what I need to do in that moment is find a way to break my conscious thought from that anger, from the emotional energy. And so I'll take a beat and I'll actually break my focus away from the individual or away from, whatever the conversation is happening. And I'll maybe focus on a pen that's sitting on the desk. And I'll think about that pen, what color it is, the way it's shaped, how well that it writes, anything that's going to break my attention away from what's fueling the anger. And when I'm able to do that, I can then revisit or bring my conscious thought back into the room. And I've separated those thoughts from that actual emotional energy. And when you can do that, it will enable you to come back into a situation looking at that emotion objectively. I then come back into the room and realize something just inspired anger. It was sparked inside of me and I kind of still feel it. And then at that point, you're ready to progress to the next step. But again, this one is the most critical. You have to find a way to break that conscious thought from that emotional energy in order to move forward and allow that emotion to now work for you as opposed to against you. Okay, now before I dive into step 3, if you're digging this, if you're getting value out of it, please like, subscribe, all the buttons below, and making sure you're gonna get the next video, the next fresh content right into your inbox. All right, let's get into step 3. So the final step of this process is about exploring the meaning. Exploring the meaning of the emotion, right? So you've named the emotion, you know what's there, you've allowed yourself to break away, to step outside of that emotion, separating your conscious thinking from the emotion itself. And now you want to come back and ask yourself, why am I feeling this emotion? What has inspired this within me? What is it that was just spoken? What did I just read? What did I just hear that sparked that anger? And why? Why was it inspired? You know, when we can start exploring the meaning behind the emotions that we feel, it can kind of guide us into things that we care most about. You know, I often think about the difficult emotions like anger, like frustration that we often feel when we're in the workplace, or really in many, many points in our lives. I think of it almost like a splinter or some type of cut or scrape that you might get on your body. That pain that's elicited is bringing your attention that, hey, something's wrong. The body is hurt. Something needs to get repaired. And so you get a pain sensation, knowing that you need to be tender around that point. You need to care for it so that it heals. I think that our emotional energy kind of signals the same thing. There's something here that needs to be cared for. There's an opportunity. There's something that we need to pay attention to in order to improve and to better ourselves moving forward. So explore what that could be in that moment, in that circumstance, in that instance. When you're able to practice these steps, 1, 2, and 3, naming the emotion, stepping outside of that emotion, separating your conscious thought from the emotion itself, and then exploring the meaning, you become empowered to move forward in that moment much more productively, allowing that energy to fuel you as opposed to being your detriment, inspiring you to do things, to say things in ways that you might later regret. If you dug that, I actually want to empower you to learn more. If you click below, I want to send you a free chapter of my book, The Signal. And this is actually a chapter that even dives further into understanding and using this emotional energy, especially those more difficult emotions. So please, 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 if you're interested, click the link, get your free chapter today. I want to make sure you have the data, the research, and the insights to help fuel your growth through even your greatest change challenges. I'm Cassandra Worthy, and until we meet again, keep growing and keep rocking.